There are places that pull us in as if they had hands, and there are people who burn inside even when they say little. Returning to Raventon Ranch was exactly that. A return for no apparent reason, but with a tight knot in my chest. The excuse I gave myself: a break from the big city, escaping the whisper-filled halls and soulless parties. But deep down, it was for him. The old carriage house still creaked as before, the sound of wind rushing through the cracks. The woods smelled of time, sweat, and memories. Rays of light penetrated like golden brushstrokes on the dust suspended in the air. I'd always loved that place, ever since I was a girl, but now it felt different. Or maybe it was me who no longer fit into that memory. The ranch manager, Mr. Conrad, was still the same man of few words and broad shoulders. Only his silences were thicker, his gaze longer, and I, of course, was no longer the girl who ran through the fields with her petticoats lifted. I spent the first few days acting out my routine. I helped with the cleaning, picked flowers from the garden, and arranged the furniture with the maids. Until one sultry afternoon, with the sun beating down on the ground, I decided to clean the stables myself. I wore a simple cotton dress, but cut it above the knee. I tied my hair in a high bun and left my shoulders bare. It's hot, I thought, but it was more than that. It was provocation, and it was guilt. Dust danced as I opened the heavy gate. I entered barefoot, feeling the cool earth beneath my feet. I began stacking old boxes, my dress clinging to my body in the heat. The silence of the stables had a sound, the kind that makes your skin crawl. That's when I felt it, a presence, the kind that arrives before the noise. I turned slowly. There he was, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed, shirt open to his chest, his boots covered in dust, his gaze fixed on me. Not a word. Just 3 seconds, the longest of my life. 3 seconds in which my body forgot how to breathe. I went back to shuffling through the boxes as if nothing had happened. But my waist knew he was watching me. My skin heated under his gaze. I turned my back. I crouched. The floor creaked behind me. "Too rustic for your taste, miss," I murmured, not looking. He didn't answer. He just walked over to one of the shelves and began rummaging through tools, as if distracted. But his gaze ran over me like warm honey. I continued what I was doing, even more eager to be noticed. I stretched, stood on my tiptoes, my dress riding up. When I turned to grab a bucket, he was closer, much closer. We stood face to face. His chest rose slowly, heavily. His scent was of wood, sweat, and iron. My body wanted to touch. I wanted to touch. I don't know where I got the courage. Maybe it was the summer or the longing. I took his hand, large, warm, marked by days of fieldwork. I guided it to my waist. His skin was sweaty, a shiver running through my navel. I looked into his eyes. He could have backed away, pretended, but he didn't. His hands squeezed, firm, intense, like someone holding a secret. I moved closer. I rested my forehead against his. His scent washed over me, aged perfume, clean sweat, raw desire. "Aren't you going to say anything?" I whispered. He took a deep breath, his voice low. "Do you know what you're doing?" I shook my head. "I know. Do you?" He didn't answer. He just slid his hand down my side, as if begging silence from his own guilt. My body screamed soundlessly. There, in that dusty, old stable, desire was born whole. Tense, forbidden. His hand remained on my waist. His breath fanned my face. I trembled. On the outside, I feigned pride. Inside, my flower throbbed. He looked away for a moment, as if fighting what he felt. But he didn't leave, and neither did I. We stayed there, face to face, breathing the same hot, heavy air, until he released my waist slowly, as if his fingers still wanted to stay. I took 2 steps away. The heat, however, remained clinging to my skin. I left the stable without looking back, but I knew he was still there, and that charged silence wouldn't last forever. He could have pretended, he could have dodged, but no. His touch remained there, alive. His thumb brushed the curve of my waist. His heart raced, and mine, too. His voice sounded rough. "Eleanor." It was my name in his voice, but spoken like a secret. I shivered. I knew that tone. It was the tone of someone on the brink of an abyss. "Go ahead, Mr. Conrad. I'm listening." He closed his eyes, his jaw tense, his hand still on me. "You're playing with something dangerous. Then why are you still glued to me?" Silence. But it was a disguised yes. I pulled away. I left just enough space for longing to blossom. He looked at me as if something had been stolen from him. "I'll stay here. If you want to help, great. If not, just stay there and look at me." I returned to the corner of the stable. I felt his steps falter. I thought he would leave, but no, he stayed. The afternoon dragged on between touches that almost were and silences that said too much. Every time I bent down, I felt his gaze on the back of my neck. Every time he passed close, his scent made me dizzy. The sun was setting. The barn turned golden, too intimate. It was a light that made desire visible. "Get me that box over there," I said, pointing upward. He came. He pressed his body against mine. He climbed the ladder. When he came down, he handed me the box, and then he pressed his forehead against mine again. "Tell me this is just teasing," he murmured. I clutched the box to my chest. My heart threatened to leap out of my chest. "What if it isn't?" He didn't answer, but his gaze, oh, that gaze. My flower contracted, just being looked at like that. We walked out of the stable together, side by side, without a word. But there were more words in that silence than in any book. If you've made it this far, you've already sensed this romance is on fire, haven't you? So here's what you need to do. Like this video, subscribe to the Fabrica de Historias channel, and comment below if you've ever experienced a forbidden passion like this. I'm watching, okay? Until the next chapter. The walk back from the carriage house to the house was short, but that night, my steps seemed to last an eternity. The night breeze brushed against my bare shoulders, but it brought no relief. Every inch of my skin still vibrated. His touch was still there, imprinted like a coat of arms. On the porch of the main house, before entering, Mr. Conrad stopped and lit a cigarette. The flame flickered in the dim light. I watched from a distance, his face partially shadowed by the lamplight. "Have you changed, Eleanor?" he asked, not meeting my eyes. "You too." He inhaled slowly and exhaled through his nose, with a sad half-smile. It was the smile of someone who knows their sinking end, who doesn't want to be saved. I went upstairs to my room, took a quick shower, and put on a light nightgown, buttons loose, legs exposed. I went downstairs to get water from the kitchen and found him there. Sitting at the table, barefoot, wearing only light linen pants. He turned when he heard me, examining me up and down without haste. "It's hot," I murmured, as if that justified what I was wearing. "It is," he replied, his tone low and dry. Desire permeated the air, thick, dense, like steam rising from a boiling kettle. I drank the water, trying to swallow what I felt, but I couldn't. Desire trickled down my eyes, my hands, my voice. "I'm going to sleep," I whispered. He just nodded. No good night, no goodbye. Lying in bed, I stared into the darkness. His image, the smell of clean sweat and hay, his hand on my waist, everything throbbed inside me. My body reacted as if it was still beneath his. In the middle of the night, I woke up. I was sweating, my body restless, the little flower throbbing as if calling out. I went to the kitchen again, still in my shirt and short pants. And there he was, again, as if fate were repeating the scene just to tease me, shirtless, damp skin, a thick gaze. We stopped in front of each other. "If you touch me again, I won't stop," I said in a whisper. He took a step. I didn't back away. Courage came dressed in warmth, the smell of straw, and a silence that screamed louder than any words. His eyes said, "Me too." The sun rose later, but the night clung to me. Every ray of light that hit my skin brought back memories of him. It was as if my body had learned another language. Every breeze was a touch, every creak of wood a whisper. I went down to the kitchen as if I were waking from a dream. Hair tied back haphazardly, pajamas loose, eyes sunken. He was already there, dressed in a light cotton shirt, coffee brewed. But he didn't look at me. He feigned normalcy, and that irritated me. "Did you sleep well?" he asked without looking up. I sat up slowly, gripping the warm mug firmly. "I think you know the answer." He closed his eyes, swallowed hard, and continued stirring his coffee. Tension, silence, stifled words. "I dreamed," I said, letting the sentence float. "Of what?" "Of someone touching me as if they knew exactly where." I raised my eyes and met his, and saw he had dreamed too. His gaze trembled inside, the spoon stilled, the air grew thick, filled with pent-up desires. He got up first. He said he was going to the barn to check his tools. I waited. 5 minutes, and I followed. The sun had barely risen in the sky, but the heat already permeated everything. The wood of the stable crackled in the heat. The smell of oil, sweat, and straw filled the air. He was there, with his back turned, rummaging through a box, as if nothing had happened. I approached silently, but he sensed it. His body stiffened. "If you keep coming here like that," he murmured without turning around, "you'll end up getting what you want." "And who said I don't want to?" He turned. His gaze burned. The sweat on his chest stuck to his shirt. His hair was disheveled, his breathing labored. His eyes confessed what his words still resisted. I moved closer until there was no more space. His scent invaded my world. His hand rested firmly on the back of my neck, and he said, "Last chance to stop. Are you really giving me this chance?" He responded with his mouth. He pressed it against my lips like someone finding a spring after a desert. It was a full-body kiss, urgent, desperate. His beard scraped my skin, and my body vibrated. My little flower pulsed, alive, surrendered. My hands gripped his shirt. He pulled me in, fitting our bodies into one. Time stood still. He pressed me against a pile of hay. The wood creaked, the heat pressed our bodies together. His hand slowly ran down my back, squeezing my flesh as if to say, "Now, it's true." My skin reacted with fire, sweat, and tremors. "Don't say it. Feel it," I whispered, biting my lip. And he felt it. With his mouth, with his hands, with his entire body. My headlights were on, the flower vibrated. He touched me like someone memorizing a secret map. His kiss promised me everything. When he stopped, his forehead pressed against mine, his eyes closed, his body feverish. He murmured, "We shouldn't. I know, but I can't stop." Then he didn't stop. He lifted me in his arms, laying me down in a dark corner of the barn where even doubt wouldn't enter. On an old blanket, he explored every part of me as if my body was sacred. I trembled. I panted. I felt. "I've waited a lifetime to not be able to touch you. Now, I won't pretend anymore." And then we lost ourselves. In the touch, in the hay, in the suppressed moan, in the desire. When it all passed, my body relaxed like someone diving into calm waters. He lay beside me, his chest heaving, sweaty. The silence was now peaceful, of certainty. My head rested on his chest. The late afternoon light invaded in soft shafts. "Now, we're not the same anymore," I whispered. He didn't answer, but his heart spoke loudly. I heard every beat. The next morning, his scent was still on my skin. It wasn't perfume. It was sweat, heat, and some essence all his own. But when I got up, he wasn't there. His shirt was thrown on a chair, his mug was in the sink, the barn empty. Only the hay seemed to know what had happened. I spent the day trying to pretend. I washed clothes, tended the chickens, talked to the cook, but everything inside me screamed, I want him again. At dinner, he sat at the table. Silence. Just the silverware and the sound of the wind, until he said, "This can't go on." I swallowed hard. "So, what would you do in Eleanor's place? Could you pretend nothing happened? Or would you let your body do the talking? Comment below. I want to know everything. And take the opportunity to like this video and subscribe to the Fabrica de Historias channel. In the next chapter, the secret will weigh heavily, and desire will demand more. The spoons stopped mid-simmer. The broth was cooling, but the heat came from within. What he had said still echoed. This can't go on. But there, before the bowl of soup and Mr. Conrad's tense gaze, I knew. Too late to back down. Too late for that, I replied firmly. And for the first time that day, he looked at me. A look that weighed decades, memories, guilt, and desire. You don't understand, Eleanor. I am your uncle by foster care. We grew up under the same roof. But no one needs to know. I cut in. My voice had come out without a tremor. He squeezed his eyes shut as if in pain. It wasn't anger at me. It was at himself. At everything he longed for and tried to deny. I went to sleep with my heart pounding and my head spinning. My body still remembered his touch, the heat of his kisses, and the eyes that undressed me even when I thought I was invisible. The next morning, he had left early. He didn't return until the afternoon, covered in grease, sweaty, but trying to appear normal. The problem was, his body didn't know how to lie. His eyes sought mine unintentionally. His fingers trembled when they passed too close. So, I provoked him. I put on my spaghetti-strap dress, loose and light as a spring breeze. I walked around the porch, watering the plants, stretching high, prancing with desire. When he passed, his glance was quick, but burning. "You want to kill someone with the heat, miss?" he said with a hidden smile. "I'm just tending the garden, Mr. Conrad." I walked in right away, and he, noticing, closed the door firmly. He cornered me with his body, his face pressed against mine. "You don't make things easy. You're the one who makes things difficult." His hands came slowly around my waist, then moving up with intention. He turned me onto my back, leaning against me, his breath hot on my neck. "This is going to end badly, Eleanor." "Then enjoy it before it's over," I murmured shakily, feeling my whole body respond. We pressed against the kitchen wall. It was urgent, desperate, a brush of skin, a grip of the soul. Then he held me for a long time, as if the world had stopped. But it didn't stay that way for long. That night, a letter arrived. It was from my mother. She said she'd come visit me this weekend. Unannounced, unprepared, a bombshell in the middle of our secret. He paled. He paced back and forth, his brow furrowed. "This won't work, Eleanor. It was just an impulse. Don't make me sound like I was a mistake. My tears didn't fall, but they were there, threatening. I came because I wanted to, because I felt it. And you felt it too. He sighed, his gaze drowned in conflict. He pulled me into a long, silent embrace. We slept together that night, but without madness. Just bodies pressed together, silences crossing our skin. And that hurt more, because now I knew. I loved him, and he loved me too. My mother arrived with her cheerful, boisterous self, rushing with questions and coffee orders. I pretended to be the same as before. He did too. Mr. Conrad was quieter than usual, but his eyes twitched as he avoided me. During lunch, my mother mentioned an opportunity at an art gallery in Spain. She said I should go, that it was just right for me. He froze on his fork and muttered, "She really should." I swallowed. He was pushing me away. That night, I went to the barn, the place where it all began. I wanted to breathe in the memory, feel that it had all been real. He arrived shortly after, silent, his eyes tired and dark. "Will you accept the offer?" I asked. "You deserve more than this place, Eleanor, more than a broken man hiding his own desire." "I don't want it anymore. I want you." He shook his head. "And I want you to have the world, not four walls full of dust and secrets." "That's cowardice, Conrad. It's not nobility." He moved closer. His voice choked. "If I love you now, I'll trap you. And if I trap you, one day you'll hate me." His words stung like a razor. "So that's all it was? Just desire?" He held my face firmly. "It was everything. That's precisely why it has to end." The kiss that followed wasn't a goodbye. It was an eternity, but it was also the end. The next morning, I left. My mother smiled, talking about the city, about my new life. I looked out the window, trying to engrave every curve of the road in my soul. At the gallery, I was welcomed. Brushes, canvases, paints. Everything distracted me, even the silence. It was to him that he returned. I began to paint. His chest, his hands, his eyes, each painting a scar. Months later, a letter arrived. "I see you in every corner of the house. I hear you in the silence of the night. And every morning, when I open my eyes, only you are missing. But I remain steadfast. Because loving you is setting you free." I cried when I read it. I wrote a reply. "No freedom will be greater than being with you, but if you need me to fly, I promise, one day, when I land, I'll find my way back." I never sent him away. I went back to painting. Large canvases, in tones of wood, sweat, sun. I kept the most important ones, the ones with him. Today, when people ask me why I left the countryside, I smile and say, I went after a dream. And I'm not lying. Because I left a man behind, yes, but I took with me something even greater, the woman I became. And sometimes, in the early hours of the morning, I still dream of the barn, the smell of hay, the touch of him on my back. And I wake up smiling, not out of pain, but out of gratitude. Because some stories weren't meant to last. They were meant to leave a mark. And we left a mark. If you've made it this far, tell me where you're watching this story from. It was a pleasure having you with me until the end of this story. Leave your comment, like, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters. Até o próximo vídeo da nossa fábrica de histórias.